Right, as promised, let's turn our attention to boxing. Of course, Anthony Joshua preparing to take on Gerald Miller in June, but fresh hope of a heavyweight unification fight potentially with Deontay Wilder after Wilder announced he's going to defend his WBC title against Dominic Breazeale in May. The American claims the chance to take on AJ and unify the division will all come down to cooperation.
Man, I can't wait for him either. I feel the same way about him. 4 months of negotiation, they knew they didn't want to fight, bro. Stop. What more do I have to do for people, you know? I try to prove to the world that I am the best. I try to do it in a humble way, even when I'm calm with my voice. I try to do it in a humble way. Maybe how I come off, maybe how I deliver it. People take it in a certain way. I'll continue to get people the fights that they want to see, but they got to be in cooperation of my team as well, too. Because fighters, I understand they have choices. They have a choice to make where they want to get in there with the man, the myth, and the legend. I am that man that can knock you out in any given time, any given round, any given minute, any given second.
There you go, the man, the myth, the legend. We're hoping to get Eddie Hearn's response to those comments a little bit later this afternoon. And right now, we've got Adam Smith, as you could see in the studio. Adam, well, he's...
You've got to love him, haven't you?
He's a real character.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's got a great charisma. Yeah, he's right. He knocks most people out. He almost knocked Tyson Fury out in that 12th round. That unbelievable sort of get up off the floor. And, you know, in my eyes and most people's eyes, Fury won that fight, but they couldn't get the rematch sorted out, and everyone seems to have gone their different ways now. Tyson Fury signed up with ESPN. There was big money, big offers to try and tempt Deontay Wilder into the DAZN outfit, which, of course, Anthony Joshua is fighting under in his next fight against Gerald Miller. So, you know, it's a confusing situation. Deontay has stayed loyal to Showtime. He is managed by Shelley Finkel, and Al Heyman is the man behind everything. And Al Heyman and Showtime and Fox have a huge relationship. So he's staying on Showtime. He fights Dominic Breazeale on May the 18th at the Barclays Center. Does it make AJ Wilder any closer? Not really. But these big fights will happen. You know, we've seen it all before. We've seen it with Lewis and Tyson and Holyfield and that era. You know, the big fights, if there's, you know, cooperation, as Deontay said, on both sides, there's enough money in the pot for these fights to be made. But look, you know, does he really want to fight Anthony Joshua? He had the chance by joining DAZN to fight Breazeale first and then Joshua twice. He's turned that down, so maybe he's biding his time. Maybe he wants another one and just to maybe let the fight brew even more. But, yeah, ultimately, I think these fights will happen. Whether it be AJ Wilder, AJ Fury, Wilder Fury, they will, but not yet.
Because every time they're fighting, we obviously know it's going to be Wilder Breazeale, Joshua Miller, but we're still talking about other fights with these fights coming up. Is it going to be distracting for AJ, do you think?
Well, listen, I think, you know, as I said, with Lennox Lewis, you know, there was defence after defence at times. You know, the Tyson fight took ages to make, the Holyfield fight, the Holyfield rematch, you know. It's not easy to make big fights. You know, AJ's got a very important one on June the 1st against Gerald Miller, who's undefeated, let's not forget that. Yes, he's the underdog, but he's from Brooklyn, he's making a lot of noise, and he's got a huge chance to shock the world and change the world. And this is where banana skins happen. This is where accidents happen. We saw it with Lennox Lewis when he fought Oliver McCall, and I think it was his 3rd defence of the world title. Everyone expected him to blow McCall away at Wembley, and in the 2nd round, he came a cropper. It happened to him again with Hasim Rahman in South Africa. So these upsets happen. Who thought Buster Douglas would beat Mike Tyson? You know, Joshua should get through Gerald Miller, but he's got to concentrate on that. We were with his team yesterday, and he's started his training camp. He's in London, then he'll be in Sheffield, and he'll be going over to America sort of 3 weeks before the fight, just to acclimatise. Meanwhile, you know, Deontay's got his own business to take care of. Dominic Breazeale's a tough guy. We saw him against Joshua. He's a big puncher, he's a big guy, and he's got to be taken seriously. So 2 good fights coming up, May 18th and June the 1st. Tyson Fury, we expect probably back in June, and then let's see where we are after that. But the most important thing of the 3 big guys is that they keep winning. That's the crucial factor. They all bring something different to the table. 3 different characters, 3 different skill sets. They are unique individuals, and it's a great time for heavyweight boxing. But of course, we as fight fans all want them to meet, and they will. Trust it will happen. Just not yet.
I think we're going to be joined by Johnny Nelson in a second. Who's oh, here he comes.
Oh, you found him?
We needed some walk-on music.
I feel like I've just caught.
Extraordinary, isn't it?
I just feel like I've caught him having an affair.
Hey, listen.
Extraordinary. Hello. How are you?
Hello,
Great to see it. We're running short on time. Just want to get your thoughts as well, Johnny, on age. It was awful you not being here. We all missed you, Johnny. But your thoughts on this fight coming up for... we've just been talking about the Joshua Miller fight and a potential banana skin. What do you think for...
Without a doubt, especially the pressure of all of a sudden going to America. It's completely different. It's a different kind of pressure. Miller's in his face. He's one of the few fighters that really got under his skin. We saw when we did the gloves are off. We saw a different side to AJ. So AJ now needs to make sure he doesn't get too emotionally involved. We saw that when he boxed Dillian Whyte, and that's where he nearly came a cropper. How much has he matured? How much he put a bet on with Miller. And they shook hands on it. He said, I guarantee you, I will stand there face to face with you in the middle of the ring. And I'm sat there thinking, no, don't do that, because that's what fighters do. I've got to talk you into my kind of argument. If me and you just stood toe to toe, if you hit me first, it doesn't matter how much skill I've got. It's a case of you're giving the man a chance that hasn't got one. Sure. And that's what the
Wilder Brazil 2 weeks before now.
Yeah, exactly. And that's on 2 weeks before. We saw Wilder Brazil, we saw the face off Brazil. You know, he looked like he was in deep water. Wilder is great when it comes to that face of what he's saying to you, trying to intimidate an opponent. He's very passionate. He's an animal. And this guy really believes that he's hard done by, even though he's getting up in silk pyjamas in the morning. He lives in a massive mansion. He talks about the hard times, the hard slogs he's had. I'm thinking, you know what, you can't keep playing that. You can't keep playing that track. So now I think you never know where this road will lead between those two.
It's fascinating. Look, guys, I've got to ask you, we've got a really special guest coming in today, Katie Taylor. Really looking forward to seeing her in a bit. Johnny, it's been an unbelievable rise in this girl's form.
Yeah, I mean, we were in Philly with her last Friday night. Thought she was absolutely fantastic once again, dismantling Rose Valente, who was undefeated, who was the WBO champion. She was 2-3 levels above her. You know, we're hoping that the unification, the final unification, the piece of the jigsaw, the fourth belt will happen on June the 1st on that AJ Miller card against Delphine Persoon. She's special. She's a brilliant talent. She's a wonderful fighter. Never mind a female fighter. She's a wonderful fighter. Full stop. She's a brilliant role model, a superb ambassador, and everybody should be getting behind Katie Taylor.
Instincts of an alley cat. This girl can fight for fun. That's what she does.
Yeah.
There's no two ways about it. You go to her training camp 8, 10, 12 weeks before a fight. She's stuck into training. You think, God, have you not got a life?
So we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute very quickly. Big fight as well. Copper box, Charlie Edwards, first defence. What do we make of this one?
It's a terrific bill. It's a fantastic time for boxing. You know, we had the big one in Philly last week. We then got the Copper box this week, Liverpool the week after. Stacked shows. Charlie Edwards defending his world title for the first time. Joshua Buatsi going for the Lonsdale belt. Lawrence Okoli and Wadi Camacho. What a punch-up that is at cruiserweight. Lewis Ritson back. Shannon Courtney making her debut.
Charlie Edwards is now a fully-fledged Yorkshireman now. He lives in Sheffield, so he's one of us. So he's going to start talking like me in a bit.
I'm betting that Lewis Ritson makes a big comeback here as well. I'm hoping he does. The whole Geordie nation.
He's moving up in weight. I think that will suit him. I think he dragged himself down. I think he's a power puncher. He's exciting to watch. And listen, who's going to steal the show?
We've been beaten by the clock, guys. We've been beaten by the clock. These guys are going to